Welcome, welcome, welcome. Excited to have everyone here today. We should hopefully have a few people tuning in real soon, but welcome if you are joining us here on beautiful Saturday morning. I do have a very special guest, Dr. Avi. Welcome, and thank you for coming and have a quick chat with us today.
Thanks, Mitch. Very excited to be here and looking forward to having that conversation with you.
Absolutely, and we've spoken before, and the audience have loved the words that you've spoken in that talk, but we didn't really get any insight about what Dr. Avi's life looks like, I guess. And so, what have you been up to in just the last few weeks, and in relation to into your business, and I guess something that we're going to be talking about today, your purpose? What have you been up to, Dr. Avi?
Well, thanks very much for the question, Mitch. It's been a very busy time for us, with me as the leader of NHS and the CEO of NHS, and also in terms of the work we're doing in the health industry. Quite a lot is going on because in healthcare in general, we're trying to figure out how exactly do we be more patient-centered. So how do we actually structure services and health services around the patient? So in the past, we've been a very provider-centric, so very a doctor-centered sort of health system, and we're actually now moving towards being a more patient-centered health system. But that means we have to listen to patients, and we have to ask them for feedback, and then change the system and the services and how it's delivered so that it's centered around the patient. So what we're doing at the moment is actually doing a lot of advisory work. I'm doing a lot of advising to CEOs, managers within the health system on how to change their services. And we're also providing technologies into that space to help collect feedback from patients in a very systematic, organized fashion, such that we can change the system. In parallel to that, I'm also doing a lot of coaching and advising to, as I said, CEOs, managers, health executives, doctors, and professionals in the health industry, and helping them change their organizations and their businesses so that they take into account what patients are saying to help them even grow their businesses as well. So there's quite a lot going on in that space to help bring change and help organizations, CEOs, executives, etc., understand what's going through the minds and the emotions of patients or people who are unwell, and in doing so, help them be more aligned to their purpose as well.
Absolutely, and I love that, and I'm so grateful that there are people like yourself, Dr. Avi, who are doing that type of thing, because there's, it definitely needs either complete revolution in the health industry or just a brand new system altogether, because unfortunately many parts of it are just not working for most people. Because the more I go and the more people I meet in my day-to-day life, the more I'm seeing anxiety ubiquitously amongst everybody, and depression, and everybody's got some sort of illness, and they have to be gluten-free or on these special dietary pills and supplements and that type of stuff, where I don't think it really needs to be that way. And I think the more that we can listen and ask for feedback from those people, and more importantly for the people at home, the more importantly you listen to yourself and allow you to express that to the people who really want to help, then that's where change is going to start to happen. And that's what I'm really excited about today. And I think a huge part of this change, Dr. Avi, is discovering your purpose. And that's why we wanted to have a chat today, because I was reading you've got a purpose toolkit on your website. And for anybody at home, just if you want to go and grab it now, is Energess, so energesse.com/coaching, and you'll find the link there on the right-hand side. And there's a nice little toolkit there that helps you really ask the right questions, because the more questions you can ask yourself, the more answers you're going to bring up, and you can start to find your way through and start discovering that purpose. So what led you to want to create that toolkit, Dr. Avi?
Well, it's a really good question, because what I found, even just going through my own personal journey, where I started off my career initially as a doctor. I worked as a doctor in the UK and then worked as a doctor in Australia. And then I actually realized that there was something bigger that I wanted to achieve, but I didn't really know what it was. So I went through this career change where I did a business degree, a master's in business administration. Then I got into industry, and I worked in the biotech industry, I worked in the pharmaceutical industry, and I was very successful. My career rose very rapidly in those industries. And then I left to sort of chase my dream for a couple of years to become a filmmaker and create companies and as an entrepreneur in the video and technology space for a few years. And in doing that, I failed once. So one company didn't do well, another one went very successfully. And I managed to sell that. And then, and in that process, I then had a bit of time and money in my hands, and I had some time to think about what is it that I really want to do in this world. You know, I've done something where most people in the medical profession sometimes feel like, oh, what would life be like outside of medicine, outside of healthcare? And I've done that. And what I actually realized that even though I was successful outside that space, what really was satisfying or fulfilling to me at my core was to help people ease pain and suffering. Like if I wasn't doing that and my core business or my purpose in life wasn't helping people ease pain and suffering, then I wasn't actually fulfilled. And you know, I was on TV, I was acting for a bit, and etc. And all that sort of glamour and glitter existed. It still didn't fulfill me at my core. And so I really had to take that time to figure out what was my purpose. And really through that, really NHS was born as an organization where we actually, you know, our vision and mission is to help 1 billion people with their health and well-being by 2040. And so it really is about, you know, helping, you know, many people with their health and well-being, starting with one individual at a time. And that really, I feel, is our purpose. And now as an organization, everyone that becomes part of NHS purpose really has that as their own personal purpose, right? Because that fulfillment is really what drives you to be healthy. It is that fulfillment that also drives you to be successful in life.
Yeah, so true. And a very important part that you said there is you took a step out of that industry. And I think that if a lot of people who feel lost right now, if they did just take a step back and take 2, 3, 4, even 5 weeks away from the work that they do and just step back and start to discover what else is out there, they can really start to find some clarity about which path to start taking. And I guess not everyone has the opportunity to do that, or at least I don't think they do, but it's so powerful. I know that for me, that's what changed everything for me. I was one of those people who had a 6-figure job. Yeah. I bought a house when I was 19 years old. I was told that I needed to pay off that house and buy more, and then I'd be set up for life. But it just didn't sit right with me. I had no fulfillment doing that, and it wasn't until that I sold my house and had, you know, a large sum sitting in my bank account where I could do absolutely anything I wanted in the world that I started to really find my own path, and it's evolved, you know, year on year, leading me up until this point, which I never ever expected just 5 years ago. So. Yeah, let's move on. What do you think would be some of the most important points that you want to talk about here today?
Well, I think, you know, for people going through particularly a health challenge right now, maybe you're experiencing a disease, maybe a disability of some sort, or someone going through a particular change in their life, they're trying to figure out, you know, how do I change my career from where I am now? Or even starting to go through this process of thinking is, oh, I'm here in this job and I feel stuck, whether that's a job in healthcare or running their own health practice, or in a particular corporate job, for example, that they might feel stuck and they can't break through or into something that really fulfills me, that really, you know, the life of my dreams. What I want to help people realize is that to make that transition, to sort of become more successful, to become happier, to become more fulfilled in your life at the moment, a couple of things need to happen. And one is reframing your mind and your thoughts around how you currently experience the world. But number two, at a deeper level, to actually understand that, that's future success will really come from understanding and really getting clear on what your personal purpose is, which is very, very individual to you as a person. So I want to show people how to do that very quickly in a number of steps.
Yeah, perfect. All right, I'm excited to hear it. Let's talk about it.
Okay. All right, great. Well, I've got a couple of slides that I could show, and I think we're just going to skip a few. So is it okay, Mitch, if I just share my screen at the moment?
Yeah, absolutely. Go for it. I think having that visual, I love having a visual. So I'm excited for these.
Okay, great. So I'm going to share something right now, and I'm just going to pull it up. And we're just going to go straight into a couple of slides. But I just like to, if you can see Albert Einstein, let me know because we're up there. Yeah. So I think for a lot of people that are going through their lives, as I said, going through a health problem or perhaps going through a career problem right now, where they just don't feel content with their health, their well-being, their careers. One thing that's always really important when moving into the future or making a change is to just recognize that sometimes we can't solve the problems that we have today with the same thinking that we used that created them. And Albert Einstein says, same level of consciousness that we used when we created them. So it was our thinking to a certain degree that helped create the problems or helped us get to where we are now. And so we've got to change how we think in order to overcome the challenges that we have in the future. And so when we look at our health experience, and in a lot of the work that we've done, and a lot of the coaching that I do to help people overcome that journey and to help them grow their practices, their businesses, their careers, we created something called the 6E framework. And the 6 E's are really it's really to help people go through that journey. And the first E is around, sorry, I'm just going to, I lost the screen there. And I'm just going to pull that back somehow. Okay. Whoa. Okay, that's doing something strange. What can you see at the moment?
A lot of different windows. That's better.
Okay, that's better. Okay. So as I said, the first E is around experiences. So how do we experience the world right now? What are we seeing, touching, feeling, sensing around the world, and how do we interpret that? One of the things to recognize is that your health and your success is influenced by how you currently experience your life. Okay, and that's the first E, experience. The second E is around emotions, and that how you experience the life then translates into certain feelings or emotions. So I'll give you one example. So a person today might have, you might be driving in your car at the moment, and somebody might cut you off. Okay, for one person, having someone just cut them off on the street may cause them a lot of anger, anxiety, and cause them to react. Okay, and cause them to react by becoming more angry, shouting back at the person that cut them off, insulting them, so on and so forth. For another person who's probably more mature or has had a higher degree of emotional intelligence or has some better practices around managing themselves, when someone cuts them off on the street, they could just go, oh, well, that's nothing at all. I still have plenty of time to do what I want to do today, and it doesn't affect me in any way. And they can become more optimal in their performance, not just in that one reaction, but every single activity they do every day. They can become more appreciated in the world they live in because they have a better sense of emotional intelligence. So how we experience the world is very different from individual to individual. And it's very interesting because research even shows that some people, even after having a very serious life event, like a death or a disability or losing an arm or being diagnosed with a serious disease, their happiness levels, upon being told that they're either going to die or have a serious disability, or experiencing a very serious life event like a trauma, can go back to normal even within a year of where they were even before being told that event. So how we experience the world and the emotions we obtain can be very different despite undergoing very serious diseases, emotional trauma, etc. So this is the fact of, this is what I mean by emotions being a very important part of how we experience the world. The third E is around living your purpose. So when we have these experiences and experience these emotions, one of the ways for us to modulate how we react to the world is looking at our energy. And by energy, I mean how fulfilled we are and how much we are aligned to our purpose. The next E is around execution, and that is how do I now, once I find out my purpose, how do I change that on a regular basis? And two practices that I recommend is mindfulness and meditation. And finally, how do I achieve excellence in this area? And one of the ways to do that is to continuously measure how you're experiencing the world and review them on a regular period of time. And finally, we get to evolution. If I keep doing these behaviors and I regularly repeat and review them, then I will evolve as a person. I will evolve as a human being. And I will evolve the community around me. I will help evolve my own business. I'll help evolve my own practice. I'll help evolve my own career. So as a framework, what I'm sort of educating organizations on or people on is really the 6E framework. Is understand how you experience the world, because it is how it influences your health and well-being. That translates into emotions, which you can change through your own energy and fulfillment through your purpose. And then introduce some practices in your life, such as mindfulness and meditation, to help execute on a better life and a better career, on a better business, which helps you achieve excellence and evolve over time. So does that make sense, Mitch, as in terms of a framework of how to get to where you want to go?
Yeah, absolutely. I love that framework, and it's something that I guess it's self-perpetuating. It's always evolving as well, and you're always in each of that framework at the same time, because life is no matter what is continuing to evolve. And I think being conscious of the choices that you're making and seeing it through that framework, you can allow your life to evolve in the right direction for you. So I love that.
That's right. No, it's absolutely right. And also touch on one of the things you said earlier is about, bringing that revolution of change, whether within the healthcare system, etc. I mean, this framework we're bringing into healthcare as well, we're not necessarily seeing it as a revolution, but more as an evolution, right? So how do we gradually help people along this journey, including people that lead the space of health and well-being as well, and give them the steps to, just gradually evolve the system. So it's not a hard battle or a fight or a revolution as such, but more a gradual evolution as we become more mentally conscious about what are the things that we require to do for ourselves to become happier and more successful in the work that we do. So if it's okay with you, the question you asked me earlier, Mitch, was, how do we then find your purpose? Because I'm sure people are sort of trying to figure out, this is all very interesting, but how do I actually do that? So is that okay with you?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's move forward.
Okay. So I think one of the key things that people always ask me is, that's great, Avi, but how do I discover my purpose? Well, I did it in a way that was very, I suppose, organic initially. I made a lot of mistakes and I made a lot of career choices, which I have absolutely no regrets for, because it allowed me to have a lot of experiences in many different industries that now brings me to be able to share that knowledge from a place of knowing. But I found a shortcut many years later. It just literally, that's on the internet. So the Japanese actually have been doing this sort of work and have had this philosophy for generations. And they call it the IKIGAI, IKIGAI. And it really is a way to help you find your purpose. And it's this diagram that you can see here. And I'll talk to this diagram in a second. The French call it the raison d'être. which is the reason to be. And all of us have this sense of, do I have a higher calling? Do I have a greater purpose? Do I have a greater vision to be here on this planet? And the Japanese actually created a formula. Trust the Japanese to do that, because I found it like this really great formula. It's also, when you really understand it, it's pretty simple. And the best part is it's actually free on the internet. So you can just put Ikigai into Google, and you can find lots of information around it. We've really taken some of that information and helped package it in an easier way for people to understand. So what is it? Well, Ikigai is really, it's a Venn diagram that brings together 4 questions, okay? And in answering those 4 questions, you're able to find an intersection. So the answers to the 4 questions, the middle point, the midpoint of those answers, that intersection, is really how you can find your purpose. So what are those 4 questions? Let's jump straight into them. The first question is, number 1, what do you love doing? Okay, so at this point, everyone should be taking out a pen and paper. And what I'd recommend before starting this exercise is to really get into a place of feeling what you love doing. So for the people that are on the webinar right now, one of the things we could do, let's just all close our eyes very quickly and just start observing our breath. Okay, so we can just do that very quickly. Just close our eyes and start observing our breath. And what you want to do is just observe the breath coming in and out.
Hey, Dr. Abby, just sorry to interrupt. It's just muted. I can see you, can't hear you though, sorry. Maybe in the little box.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, can hear you now. Sorry about that.
Okay, that's all right. That's okay. So I think where did we cut off, Mitch?
Let's just go back into the breath. I think that was a good start, where we're just focusing on what we love doing.
Okay, excellent. So if we just get back into that step of focusing on breath, and if you just close your eyes, and what we want to do is help everyone just connect with what they love doing. So if we take a couple of deep breaths in and out, take a deep breath in again and out. Take another deep breath in again and out. And just bring your awareness from your head into your heart. And just start to feel what you love doing. Start to think about the places you love going, the people that you love hanging out with, the things that you love to do. When you do them, you just feel extreme joy. Allow your awareness to come to that space, feeling what you just love doing. May your heart sing. Take a deep breath in and out. And again and out. Just allow yourself to experience those activities that you love. Slowly just open your eyes again. And right now, as you gradually open your eyes and get adjusted back into the room, start to write down a few things. What was it that you thought about? What was it that you observed? What were the activities that you experienced? As you're doing that, and you've written a few things down, let's park those for a second, and then let's move into the second question, which is, what is it that the world needs? What is the problem that you want to solve? If you're in a business, what was the problem you want to solve in the market? If you have a practice or if you have your own career, what is the problem that you solve within your organization, within your company, within your not-for-profit, within your health practice, or within your community or your family? What is the problem? What is the problem that you are solving or wish to solve? What does the world need? And you can write a few things down there. Once you've done that, we can jump to the third question, which is, what can you get paid for? So is it monetizable? Because often with the things that we want to do in our careers, in our purpose, we need to get paid for them, right? There needs to be some form of remuneration for us to do it continuously, right? For it to be sustainable and for us to be able to live our purpose over the long term. Now, this pay may come in the form of donations, it may come in the form of sales, it may come in the form of grants, it may come in the form of customers paying you. It may be in a number of ways. But ultimately, when you live your purpose, there's some kind of way in which you can be paid. It may not be a way that you can think of right now, but may come later. So just as we're thinking about this, just remember that this is an organic thing. It's also a process of evolution. So your answers today may change in 6 months' time, may change in 12 months' time, as you grow and evolve and become more aligned with your purpose. So once you've answered that, the next question is, what are you good at? So what are the things that you are really good at doing? Now, I call this the true strengths, so rather than strengths. And what is the difference? So there's some organizations like Gallup, for example. Some people may have done these sort of Gallup surveys, GALLUP, which are organizational surveys that help you identify your true strengths, things that you're really good at doing. Now, some characteristics of true strengths is that when you're doing them, time seems to fly. You are in the zone, and you can do it for hours and hours and hours, and you don't feel tired. You have a lot of energy. So Mitch, can you think of something that is a true strength for you, that when you do that, time just flies and everyone says, wow, you're really great at that. That's your gift, or you're amazing at that particular activity or task?
Yeah, definitely. I'm great at coming up with ideas and testing those ideas really fast, and just my mind goes crazy about all of the different possibilities that we can do in my business and in my life, and all of the things that I want to do, and time just flies by when I'm researching those things and trying to implement all of those things.
Right, fantastic. So researching and implementing new ideas is a true strength for you. Time flies, and you really love doing it. Excellent. So that's one of the things that, as you can now write down some of those things. So often we have a sort of 3 to 5 really strong tasks that, when you break it down, are really our true strengths. So once we've got those answers to all those 4 questions, then what we want to do is, just going back to that last diagram, find the intersection, right, of all those things. When you are doing something that is the intersection of what you love and what the world needs, then that's a mission. Okay, that's a mission for you. You don't necessarily get paid for it, but it's your mission. When you are doing something and solving a problem in the market and you're getting paid for it, then that's a vocation or a career. When you're doing something that's what you can get paid for and you're good at it, then that's a profession. And when you're doing something that you love and you're good at it, but you're not paid for it, then that's just a passion. Right? And all of us sometimes are doing things in these areas, and that's completely fine. But when you can align all of those elements into one and make that your primary purpose and where you spend most of your time, then that is where you can deliver the greatest service to the world, but also get the greatest reward for it as well. Not just financially, but also from a personal sense of fulfillment and satisfaction. Does that make sense, Mitch?
Yeah, definitely. I love it.
And so one of the things that I help people with and I help organizations with through our work with NHS is really help people get clear on this sense of purpose and then build their careers, build their organizations, build their work around this purpose, because that then helps them become more fulfilled. And the same is true for your health as well. Let me explain. So if you're currently going through a difficult health problem at the moment, maybe you've got diabetes, maybe you've got a recent trauma, maybe you've got a disability or an injury, then helping you find your purpose often helps you just get a deeper sense of fulfillment and a deeper understanding of, hey, you know what? Even though I've got this health challenge, and even though I've got this disease, or even though I've got this sickness, then there's still something for me to do. There's still something that I want to achieve in my life that's meaningful. That perhaps, maybe it's not a distraction, but perhaps, if you have diabetes and you're experiencing diabetes, then you have a very deep understanding of the condition, and now you want to actually go and help other people with diabetes because you are coming from a place of deeper understanding that other people can't help. And maybe you've got something like Crohn's disease, or I've come across many people who, as a result of the illness, their trauma, etc., now want to go and help others through their own learning and experience, and want to team up with either doctors or health professionals, etc., to bring the knowledge that they have and help others in this space as well. And they create really great, beautiful products and services to help people in that space. And it's such a meaningful, rewarding experience for them to help other people that have gone through those same experiences. So I find this to be a really great tool. It's really helped me refine a lot of my own journey of service that I want to deliver to the world. And it's also helped me become more successful in the coaching work that I do, and also in the business and the products and services that we are bringing out to the health industry as well.
Perfect. I love that. And I'm just sitting here at the moment, just asking myself these questions again, because like I was saying before, I think it's always evolving. And the more that you get to know, the sooner you get started on your own path, the more it continues to evolve faster and faster for you. Because sometimes I find that a lot of people are scared to ask these questions because they don't know the first steps. And sometimes you've just got to get started without knowing the direction that you're going, and it will start to unfold right beneath your feet as you do continue to work on yourself and ask these questions. Don't you think, Dr. Avi?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, even for my personal experience, as I said, going a few years back, particularly at this very major point of transition where I was, I'd left the health industry to get into the sort of the film and technology industry, and I had a couple of ventures in that space, and then sold off the second one. And it was really a transition point where I had a bit of time to think. And as you can see, this exercise doesn't take very long at all. You can do it in in half an hour to an hour max.
Yeah.
Run workshops with various different groups where within an hour they're able to come up with the answer. And it's so satisfying, it's so enlightening for them to have this clarity all of a sudden, because even in my own personal journey, I can tell you. In fact, I had this. So I do a lot of speaking and keynote speaking, as you know, Mitch, and I was about to get on a speaker course, and the trainer for the speaker course, he said, "Look, before you get into this course, send me a couple of videos of you speaking." And when I looked at, so I had to go through this sort of library of videos that I had, and I looked at a couple of videos of me speaking, and there was one from 2013 where I was talking to people about finding their purpose. And I was on fire, and I was energized, I was enigmatic, I was funny, I was entertaining, and people were loving it. My energy was, really fun, inspiring, and I was really fulfilled. And then I looked at some of my talks that I was delivering to the health industry about the future of healthcare, etc. And I was still good. I was highly rated. I remember those talks. I remember the feedback from those talks. I was getting really high scores of feedback. But you could see my energy was completely different. It was not at the same level. And then from intersecting all those different things, intersecting my profession and my passion, I found that for me, my house purpose was helping people in the industry find their purpose, right? And that really brought together my Ikigai and helped me be more successful, brought out more opportunities, get me greater joy and fulfillment in the work I'm doing every day. So do you see how important or useful it is to bring together that intersection of all the things that we've been doing over the last few years?
Yeah, exactly. And it's that classic example of, what is it? Aim, fire, shoot, and of something like that. I definitely messed that up, where you don't really shoot, aim, fire, isn't it? Just to clarify that, where you just get started on that path first, and then you start to align yourself as you go to that direction that you're really meant to go. Because when I started in the fitness industry, trying to bulk up and take a lot of supplements and get really big, and all of this stuff, which now I may consider to be a little bit unhealthy, but I had to get started on that path first. Otherwise, I never would have ended up in this place. I would have never traveled and lived in different cities all around the world and around Australia. So, yeah, I definitely agree with that. I love it.
Yeah, and also, it brings back here, just as you're saying that, it is important to just take that first step and not feel like we need to be completely perfect. And this is a completely perfect tool that, it's going to tell us right now exactly what we need to do. It does help shape your direction and your aiming, absolutely. And what it does do is enable you to just go out and do that next step, because the learning comes from the doing. And I remember one of these talks that I heard Steve Jobs make, and whether you like Apple products or not, there's no doubt that he was successful in his career in terms of being an entrepreneur and building a big organization. But one of the things that he said, which stuck with me, was that you can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect the dots looking back. And what he meant by that was that we've all undergone this journey in life where we perceive we've made all these mistakes in going in the wrong direction in our career and trying lots of different things. But at some point, you look back and you'll go, well, you know what? If I didn't become a doctor, if I didn't try some things in the film industry, if I didn't work in the pharmaceutical industry or biotech, if I didn't do all these things, then I can't actually deliver the service that I'm delivering now with such higher value and purpose if I hadn't experienced or made those perceived mistakes or tried different things. So I think it's really important for people to recognize that everything you've gone through in the past, there's almost like a reason for and a value from what you've experienced, whether it maybe even be perceived as negative. There's something useful from that experience, that it's your choice. If you want to take that experience and turn it into something useful, you can create tremendous value, and you can help lots of people, and you can get paid well doing it if you're able to bring together all these things that you love, what you're good at, and solve what the person needs. You can be very successful in your life from doing that. Does that make sense, Mitch?
So true. I love that message. It's one of my most favorite messages to share. And I do so very often when I email, send out my daily email. That comes up quite a lot when I have chats with people on this type of subject. That comes up because everything, there's no doubt that everything that we go through is for a reason. And like you're saying, you can only look back and connect those dots because yeah, I think life is truly a gift. And if you learn to look at it that way, you can see that it's all fun. And no matter if you're going through a tough time or a good time, it's all just fun, and you can get the most out of any situation. So I love that message. Dr. Abbey, what else do we need to talk about here? I think we're covering a lot of it, and if the people at home haven't downloaded this this guide yet, where can they get that?
Yeah, well, look, I think that's really covers a lot of what I wanted to share today, because it is a sort of a very powerful tool, and as I said, you can get it off the internet, and just type in Ikigai into Google, and you can find it. Or you can also go to our website, as you mentioned earlier, nhs.com. Here it is. And what I've done with it is really put it into a 2-page document with a little more explanation, a little more about how I came to using it, and also a few more tips around how I coach people to use this particular tool in their lives to get value and become more successful as well. So that's all. It's all free. It's it's called the Purpose Toolkit, and it's freely available from this link here.
Perfect. I love it. All right, Dr. Abbey, I want to finish up with a question. I love getting these questions when I speak with Juliet Lever. She often asks me a question like this. I want to finish up with this for you. You said you started in 2008 in doing work on this path that you're on now. If you had 3 quick tips for yourself from what you know right now when you started back in 2008, what would they be?
Yeah, so I think just to clarify, we started NHS in 2012, but
Okay.
but I've been sort of on the path of developing my own ventures much earlier. The 3 quick tips I would give people is number 1, start now. Don't wait to make any change in your life. Don't wait for. I often hear people say, I will start when I get the pay rise, or I will start when I have somebody come and stay with me. I will start when I get a better job. There's no better time to make a change or to chase your dreams or to have a better life than now. Start today. That's the first thing I would say. Take action today. That's absolutely the first thing I would say. The second thing I would say is that give the Ikigai a try. Try out the tool. It's free. It's available to you, and use it and do the exercise. There's so much value in doing the exercise, and really shortcut a lot of years that I've spent trying lots of different things. This tool will just help you save a lot of years in time in getting out there. So I think that's the second tip. And then the third thing I would say is that a lot of experiences that we have in our life and how we react to them, the emotions that come out of us when we react to them, is really our choice in how we react to things. I often say, I don't have a choice in terms of, this accident happened to me, or this illness happened to me, or this negative experience happened to me. Well, what I find is that successful people happen to the world. The world doesn't happen to them. They happen to the world, right? So we need to go and happen to the world. We need to go and bring our knowledge, experience, our service to the world, and go out there and bring the change that we want to see in the world. So for us to be healthier, live happier, be more successful, I think this is one fundamental thing that I would say is the third tip, is just change your mindset to say, I can change, I can bring a change to the world. I'm not powerless to be happy or change my mindset or experience the world in a different way. So I think that's probably the third big tip that I probably want to share.
Perfect. I love that. And Dr. Avi, I think I've definitely got a lot out of this. And like I said before, I think it's important that we continue to ask these questions and continue to do these exercises like the IKIGAI, because the more we can really get to know ourselves, the more fulfilled we're going to be and the more joy we're going to have in our lives. And I think that's what it really comes back to at the end of the day, is just following, you know, it was Joseph Campbell who said, follow your bliss. And I think that some of the best words ever spoken is the more that we can try and live our life day to day with joy and passion and purpose, then the more fulfilled we'll be, not just for ourselves, but for the people around us as well. And I think that's what the world needs right now. And like I said, I'm really grateful that you are somebody who's leading in this health industry, this evolution, like you're saying. So thanks for joining us and have a good weekend.
Thank you very much, Mitch. All the best to you and all the best to everybody out there. Thank you.